So look what just showed up in the mail today. Yep, it's the KTM power parts. Basically, they're the Cycra CRM center reach mount handguards, spark busters. They've just been rebranded for KTM. But we're going to be doing an install video, and I'm going to be doing an in-depth review as I ride with them as to what I think about them. I've seen a couple issues that people have put up on YouTube regarding that these mounts do rotate down on impact. We'll see if that's the case. But really shortly, we're going to be doing an install video. We're going to get them put on, and we'll go from there. But you know what time it is.
Like me, I wanna know, darling, am I dying? Feel like I've been holding on too long. Ooh, mommy, are you stuck in nostalgia like me?
Okay guys, first thing, let's go over what's included in the packaging. Okay guys, so included in the Probend CRM packaging, first thing you're going to have on this side is going to be your set of spacers. These are the spacers that are going to fit between the handguard at the center mount area and the bar clamp. Underneath that, you're going to have the flag, the actual handguard shield itself. Now these are replaceable. And then you're going to have the CRM actual main unit itself, that main aluminum, I guess it feels like machined aluminum. Really nice detailed anodized orange. You can see there it is, made by Cycra for KTM. Really nice. Okay. Put in the center, you have your two center reach mount, the bar mounts. These are available in multiple sizes. Some kits, they don't have them included. For the Probend CRM kit, in this case, they are included. You do not have to buy these separately. They do have different options available depending on what you're doing, what type of mounting location you need, and what size bars also. So for the regular 7/8 bars, they do have mounts for those. These are for the fat bars that are typically found on most modern motorcycles today. In the center, conveniently stapled in, you have your baggie of hardware. Now this hardware are a bunch of self-tapping screws. These are to mount the handguard flags to the actual unit itself. Now one interesting design feature I should note is that they do not pre-drill these holes to mount them. You can see in there is no threading cut. They are self-tappers that are included, and those cut their own threads as you screw them in. And then you're going to have your multiple bar end inserts. This is what actually holds the end of the aluminum bar into your handlebar mount, giving its rigidity. You have two different sizes. There's the smaller sizes that's for use on most modern motorcycles with aluminum handlebars. And there's a larger diameter, which are for the less common nowadays steel handlebars. And then lastly, over on this side, it's going to be same as the other side we just reviewed, except for these. These are the bar end, the grinders. So these are fixed onto the sides right here, and they help protect your nice orange anodizing if you take a spill or lay the bike down. These are also a replaceable item, and the same way they're mounted with the self-tapping screws. The tools you're going to need are pretty minimal. It's going to start off with, first you're going to need some type of a hacksaw, You're going to need to modify the end of the throttle tube to fit the bar end inserts. You're going to have to cut off a small part. You're going to need a 12 millimeter socket. Doesn't have to be a deep, it's just what I'm using. You're going to have a 4 millimeter Allen T-handle. You're going to have either some type of utility knife or regular knife if you want to use X-Acto. I wouldn't use a regular knife. You probably get a much cleaner cut on these because you're going to have to modify the end of your grips to allow the bar end inserts to fit inside. And then lastly, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. So now if you're installing these on a KTM, a newer one that still has the factory handguards installed, you're going to need to look through your little orange manual, the black book that they give you with them. There's going to be a little set of rubber boots, and there should be two black bolts with a nut on them, and that are going to be to replace your pivot. You're going to need to, because the one that is used when the factory handguards are installed is much longer. You're going to have to replace that with the shorter, and then you're going to slide the black rubber boots over just to protect everything here from dust. But to remove these bolts, it's simple. It's going to be either an 8 millimeter or you can use a Torx directly on top of it. But if you put an 8 millimeter, you see it fits right on top, and then you can just twist them off. Now, one thing to be careful with, especially on the clutch side, is there is a spring in here that can go flying off and you could lose it if you're not careful. Try and keep it retained as much as possible. Just be aware of that. The brake side, from what I understand, shouldn't be much of an issue. Now, the easiest way I've found to do this and not lose any springs, you notice at one end it's held onto the clutch cable itself with a zip tie. Leave that in place. What you want to do is actually reach underneath and grab onto it, and then what you're going to do is just unthread the original while holding this directly firmly in place. You're going to pull the pin out, slide the handguard forward, and then while you're still holding the hole aligned, you're going to stick the replacement bolt through. And you can see here the replacement bolt's been stuck through. You replace this one, which is significantly longer, and this one does not have a captive nut on the other side like is retained inside here on the handguard, so it is going to have a black lock nut with it that you're going to use to replace. So once you have your pivot pin in place, you can go ahead and cut the black zip tie that's holding the handguard to the clutch cable itself. Now to tighten your new nut in place, it's going to be an 8 millimeter on the top, and you're going to have to put an 8 millimeter wrench on the bottom. You can see right here actually the spring that I was referring to. So you got to be careful it's not captive. That will fly off if you do lose tension on the lever. Then you're going to simply take your supplied clevis boot. You're going to slide it over. And you're going to pull it on the rest of the way. And then you'll be done on the side. Next step, you're going to remove your bar pad to make this a little easier, and you're going to loosely attach the bar clamp itself. You're going to do this by removing the 4 millimeter hex head screws. Split the unit in half, and then you're going to loosely screw them back on. It's going to make your alignment later on when you're attaching the actual guard itself a lot easier. Okay, so you're going to attach it just like that, as follows, with the arm swinging in the direction that the handguard is going to be mounted in. You're going to install the 4 bolts, and like I said, you're going to leave them loose. This is going to aid you a lot when you're lining everything up. You want to lighten everything up. Not tighten everything up. You want to install everything, have all the bolts loose, and get your fitment right, and then tighten everything all at once together. So next is going to be modifying our clutch side of our grip, so we can fit our bar end insert. You can see all the bar ends, the grips, they are closed across the top. We're going to have to open that up to allow access for the bar mount to actually enter the bar. The way we're going to do that is we're going to take our X-Acto knife and we're going to cut just the very, very edge off. And then that's going to let us stick the bar end insert into the bar. Next, you're going to have to select the appropriate bar end insert. Like I said, most modern motorcycles are going to have aluminum bars on them. So it's going to be the smaller insert. That's why it comes already pre-installed. The larger insert is going to be used for steel bars. As you can see, if we insert that, that fits right into the handlebar. Next, you're going to want to select the corresponding handguard bar that goes to which side of the motorcycle you're working on. That should be pretty self-explanatory, but in any case, it's going to be the one that bolts in just like that, and it's going to have the Probend, the actual drop, arching down just like that. And then you're going to go ahead and install the bar end insert that you selected into it, and that's going to be a pretty straightforward process. So the way this is going to work, like I said, you have this whole unit right here. This is the pre-assembled one. It's going to fit the aluminum bars. What you're going to do is this little collared insert, you're going to unthread it. And then you're going to keep everything in the same orientation. You're going to pull the sleeve off. And then you're going to slide the screw on. It's a little snug. Okay, just like that. And then you're going to reassemble it in the same direction. So you're going to have the knurled side. The knurled side is going to be pointing out. And then the cone. Cone is going to be in just like that. And then you're going to thread it in just till it touches. Just get it a little snug. And then you're going to insert it into the bar end on the motorcycle. Just like that. The next step, you're going to have to figure out if you're going to need that spacer I was referring to earlier, those pucks, to fit between there and there. To give you the appropriate clearance, you're going to need to run your lever and all your cables. Okay guys, so like I said, you slide the bar and insert into the bar. Your bar mount bar, your handguard bar swings across to the middle. In my case, I did need the spacer, so I had to install the spacer with the provided longer bolts. You run that through loosely, and that's why I said it was important to leave this loose, because then you get everything adjusted in, fit in loosely, and then you start tightening everything down together. Don't just tighten one thing down at a time. Go ahead and start tightening everything down together so it all works into place. And then I got that aligned so it's keep my clutch lever nice and protected. Once you have everything tightened down, the next step is going to be to install the handguard flags, the shields themselves. That's going to be done with the provided 3 self-tapping screws. Okay, so once you have that done, that was actually really easy to do. You're going to repeat the similar process with the 2 screws for the grinder bar ends. And there you have it, guys. It's pretty straightforward. No major surprises. A couple things I found that make life either easier or I had to do that other videos or instructions didn't specify or state that it would make it easier. I'll go over that in a little bit. But plenty of clearance. And to be honest with you, they look really good on there. It's the factory. That's the KTM Cycra Probend CRM. We'll see how they hold up. Alright guys, so the next step for the throttle side was essentially the same with a couple minor variations. Number one, first thing you want to do is the two 8mm bolts on the bottom of your throttle tube. You want to loosen those up and you want to slide your throttle tube out towards the end of your bars about an inch or two. And that's to get you clearance from the handlebar itself. Then you're going to cut the grip in much the same fashion. You're going to peel it back, and then using your hacksaw, you can actually cut just a very small amount off the throttle tube itself. It's literally just going to be this end cap, so it's going to open it up to the same diameter as the handlebar itself. That way you can slide it away from the handlebar. You can slide the insert in, and you don't have to worry about it binding on the mount, the bar itself. So what you want to do next is you want to remove these burrs, any burrs that are there, so you don't have any anything in your throttle that could potentially hang up your throttle. You could do that either using some sandpaper. I'm just using some 180 grit right now, it doesn't matter. Or you can use a file, and what you want to do is basically just get in with a small amount, and you're just going to round the edges over. And then you're just going to periodically feel inside, just make sure that there's no burrs and no sharp edges left. Once you've deburred the edges of your tube, you can just slide your throttle back on, and then just get the end of the bar to poke through, just like that. That way, when the handguard unit itself is in place, you still have free movement of your throttle. Also, make sure you clean out any of the dust left over from this plastic sanding when you're cleaning out any of the burrs. Alright guys, so once you got everything fitted in place properly and you got it set up where you like it, go ahead and tighten down all the fasteners. I like to have this one in first, and then get these ones kind of snug down, not fully, but just so they're making contact. And then I'll go ahead and tighten this one while I'm holding it in, so I know it's tight against the bar end. And then I'll go ahead and tighten all these in, and then lastly tighten these in an alternating pattern. So you're going to go across the top and then alternate it down, because as you tighten one, it's going to take the tension off the other side, so they're going to keep loosening up. So if you think you're tight on one, you tighten the other. You don't go back and check the one prior is actually going to be loose. So you're just going to keep going in a Z pattern until they're all completely to the same torque. And then last thing you have to do on here is just ensure that you have free throttle play, that it moves through the whole range of motion, returns freely. If it doesn't, if it binds, or if it doesn't return fully, you may need to loosen the two 8mm bolts on the bottom of your throttle tube and slide your throttle tube in to ensure that you have a proper gap between your handguard bar and your throttle tube. That should alleviate any further problems. Another thing I did notice is you have to pick how to route your cables, just with your brake line in this case. All of the cables I had no issue with. You can see on the clutch side I didn't adjust anything and it fits perfectly through. On the brake, what I did actually end up having to do is I did have to loosen this banjo bolt. It is a 12mm, and I did actually have to swing the brake line down a little bit So I had clearance to go underneath here, and it's very close, but it's not actually touching this, so I don't have any pressure on this fitting. Other than that, that's basically all you have to do for this side. And then the last thing you have to do is install the handguards, which is going to be the exact same fashion as the clutch side we just did. There you have it. That's the complete and finished install of the KTM Power Parts / Cycra Probend CRM Handguards. Okay guys, so the installation went pretty straightforward. It was pretty easy overall. There's a couple things that I had to do that I haven't seen on other videos. I know there's other videos of the CRM Probend install that they never mentioned this. And the issue was specifically with the bar end insert, and it being that actually the cone, the one that actually causes the sleeve to expand inside the handlebar to secure it. With mine, at least on my on my clutch side, was when I was tightening it, the entire unit was just spinning inside of the sleeve, and it wasn't pulling in, causing it to expand out. So what I actually ended up having to do is hold on to this with a pair of pliers, just the cone end, and tighten it down till I got it snug enough and expanded enough, but that it still fit within the handlebars. I was able to slide it in. Once I did that, then there was no further issue.